Welcome to Get Your Hopes Up. Laura's got something to say.
Oh shit! I was just gonna ask how you did. How's your day?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Thank you. Thank you. Oh man, I was worried. I didn't know what it was. I was worried it's gonna be something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to know how your day was.
Oh, okay.
My day was interesting. This was total. You know, well, sometimes someone asks you how your day was, and you know the whole reason was because they want to tell you how their day was.
Yes. Yeah. Like every
Yeah.
time. Oh, I'm sorry. So how was your day?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you asked.
Yeah.
Oh man. No, I had jury duty today.
Oh.
Yeah. That happened. And now I obviously I'm legally not allowed to give any information about any trials that I may have served on today, mostly because I didn't.
Wait, did you just get sent home?
Yeah. So
What the fuck? Here's
your tax dollars at work, America. So here's what happened was I had to be there at 7:45 this morning. Normally I have to be to work at like 10, so this is a time of day that I had forgotten existed. Got in there at 7:50 for reasons. Sat around for 2 hours. And they were like, all right, we're going to call some people for a thing now. They didn't call my name. And then they were like, okay, everybody, now we're going to watch My Big Fat Greek Wedding. So we watched My Big Fat Greek Wedding for another 2 hours.
Did they wheel it in on like the VHS TV combo? On a
No,
giant-
they had a giant ass screen that they pulled down from the ceiling expressly for the purpose of showing everybody My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Yeah. Santa Ana don't fuck around, yo. And then a couple hours later, this was really funny. A couple hours later, they were like, all right, we're going to start sending people out for lunch. So if we call your name, you're allowed to go take a lunch break. And they started listing off people's names. And of course, they were doing it alphabetically. So I knew pretty much immediately that I wasn't getting lunch. Because they were like, Anderson, I don't know, Averill, Checkers. I'm like, okay, well, they've moved out of the A's, so it's not me. And they sent all those people out and the entire time, the person that was calling these names kept going, here's a name, and then and just remember everybody, you're allowed to leave as soon as I call your name, so just go ahead and leave right away. Oh my
gosh.
Yeah. And so she kept saying, everybody just go ahead and leave as soon as No, she called out probably 30 or 40 names. And just kept reminding everybody that they should leave right away as soon as she called their name. And then literally 2 minutes after all of those people left the room, and she had been like, all right, don't forget everybody, you have to be back here at 1:30. 2 minutes after all those people left the room, she was like, and everybody else is free to go. So for they sent a whole bunch of people out for lunch, telling them to be back at 1:30, and then sent the rest of us home. And I'm pretty sure they just wanted to
separate the people who are getting picked or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty funny.
Great.
So yeah, I did my civic duty today by waking up super early and watching My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
How was it?
Shit.
Really? Was it your first time watching it?
Yeah, I hadn't seen it before.
Oh, okay. Wow, it's really bad. I heard it was funny.
It has occasional moments, but it's a very of its time rom-com.
Oh.
So there's the dude who's the super kind and understanding dude, and everything just revolves around the girl, and her family doesn't like the dude, and the dude's family is a little bit weird but doesn't matter, and the dude is just this perfect human the entire time through.
All right, well, don't spoil the whole thing. Come on, man. Just spoil this.
Yeah, it was honestly pretty gross. It was not a good movie.
All right.
So yeah, that was my day.
Great.
Yeah. And then I went to work.
Then you went to work. Yeah. Late. What, noon, 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would have just been like, hey guys, I'm just not gonna come in today.
I was gonna not come in today, but then bunch of devs were like, we need you to post this stuff on the forums. And I was like, but I don't wanna. Which is totally how that conversation went, by the way.
Actually, wait, did you have a tweet that went out earlier today where you were like, yeah, we're hoping to improve communication or whatever?
Yeah.
I could just
well, that was because, like, half the time that I was sitting there doing nothing at the... I was actually working, like, from my phone the entire time at jury duty.
Okay.
Like, answering emails and trying to sort out things to, like, post on the forums and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway. And then I went to work for a while, and then the Game Awards happened. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
Okay.
Because did you get anything cool? Because I got some cool shit. Did you get any cool shit?
Yeah. I got...
I love how nothing about Black Friday and Cyber Monday anymore are about buying gifts for other people. It's all like, I'm going to buy all the shit I want and then have no idea what to ask people for Christmas.
Yeah, because this is our Christmas. Like when you get old and you can't go and buy, or you don't get anything good, you just end up buying all the good shit yourself. So when are you going to buy it? When you can spend the least amount of fucking money.
Yeah. Like there's a point where, it's funny. I saw someone the other day like talking about how, when I was a kid, I used to be really, really excited about Christmas because I had so many things I wanted. But now I'm older and all I want is socks and a jacket, and that's so boring. And it's like, damn it, bitch! That's because you bought all the shit that you wanted. Yeah. You're able to afford things for yourself now. It's because you have all the other cool shit.
Yeah.
Look at it that way. Have some independence, damn it.
I got a hard drive.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 5 terabyte.
Yeah. I bet you. Ooh. Yeah. Wait, what?
5 terabytes.
Oh, God.
For like $100.
Hmm.
Yeah, it actually really was a good deal.
Yeah.
I got.
Is that that's not an SSD, is it?
No. What?
Okay.
Jesus.
I was about to reach through the internet and slap you for not telling me about this deal if that was an SSD.
The entire world would come down upon me. Then I got these little like thumb drives, which I feel like, I always feel I'll never use that, right? But then there's always that moment where like, you know what? This would be so much faster than syncing it to fucking Dropbox or or transferring it however else. These little drives, the thumb drives, what I like so much about them is that they're really, really, really small. Like, those little Logitech Bluetooth adapter things, those little shallow ones that you plug in. They're that small, and it was 128 gigabytes.
That's not bad.
And it was $20.
That's really not bad. Yeah, that's really nice.
And it wasn't like, some shitty, rip-off brand. They're Samsung's. So I'm like, okay, I'm good with that.
Nice.
And then a bunch of other crap. Like, what'd you get?
Thanks. I accidentally spent too much money.
We did that too. Did you see the stupid sweater I got?
Oh, I didn't see the stupid sweater.
No, it's like you should see. Like you'll see it.
I thought about buying a stupid sweater. There's one that I saw on this website. It's like a angry one of those awful Christmas sweater sort of things.
Yeah.
Assume that's what you're talking about as well.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And it's like got a picture of Santa on. It's all red and green and everything. Got a picture of Santa. It says like Happy Holidays across the top, and then in these weird block lettering, like right underneath the like sleigh that Santa's in, it just says R.I.P. Harambe. And I don't normally go for the Harambe memes because it's usually just someone says the word Harambe and everyone goes, dead gorillas.
Why are we glorifying something? I don't know.
Yeah, but this one was just so ridiculously out of place that I was like, that's actually fucking hilarious. But yeah, so I got an Amazon Echo.
Oh, yeah. Didn't we talk about that on the show? I think we did. A little bit.
Did we? I don't think we'd done a show. No, we haven't done a show since Friday last week. Well,
no, but talking about the Echo.
Oh, we might have talked about the Echo a little bit, yeah. I don't remember.
Did you set yours up?
Yeah, it's all set up and everything. It's in the other room, so I probably
You can still yell at it, dude. Just yell at it.
Alexa, what's the weather forecast tomorrow? It's telling me what it is, but I can't hear it.
You should interrupt her and say, Alexa, volume 10.
Yeah, exactly. So I got that. Wow, it's still going. Apparently there's going to be like fucking earthquakes or something tomorrow because normally the weather forecast, she's just like, tomorrow the low is this, the high is this, and you can expect sunshine because I live in Orange County and that's every weather forecast all the time. Yeah. But that went on for a good like 45 seconds. I'm actually a little bit worried now. Tomorrow there will be monsoons in the morning, followed by a hurricane in the evening, followed by the end of all life on the universe. But yeah, so I got that, and that's pretty cool. Like it's a fun sort of toy at the moment. It's moderately useful for occasionally, like when I happen to be in the room that it's in and I wonder something, I can just be like, "Hey Alexa, Wikipedia, I don't know, fucking the abominable snowman or something."
You gotta think long and hard about what to choose for this one.
But that's because 99% of the time I go, "Oh, I don't actually know anything about anything, so I can't even think of a thing that I don't know things about." But it's kind of cool. The coolest thing about it, the coolest thing about it is that it has like fully public API for adding functionality to it. So like I can ask it what the current token price is on North American realms for World of Warcraft token. Which is cool because I can be like, "Hey, what's the token price?" And it'll be like, "It's 60,000 gold." And I'll be like, "Fuck, I better buy some and sell it right now. That's some bank. I need that gold." Which is kind of cool. And it has one that's a plugin so that it has all sorts of cocktail recipes, which is nice. So I got that. I got another Razor Orb Weaver because it's only a matter of time before I break this one because it's a Razor product.
Damn.
And they were cheap. So
do they really? Oh man.
I say that the only reason that I say that is because I've been through 2 Nagas and 5 Nostromos at this point, and I haven't broken the Orb Weaver yet. And it is a mechanical thing, so I'm less likely to break it.
Partly your fault.
Sure. The problem is that
it's designed to stay there in one spot and never move, and not fly all over the country.
No, I never flew anywhere with the Nostromo. That was only with the Orb Weaver.
Oh no. But what was it? Well, wait. What were you using at San Diego?
That's the Orb Weaver.
Oh, whatever, dude. Whatever. Yeah. You don't.
The Nostromo is different because it doesn't have mechanical switches, and I kept breaking the plastic switches that it had.
Oh wow, Jesus fuck.
Yeah. Turns out I push buttons a lot because I play an MMO.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of over and over and over and over again. So yeah, I got one of those. I'll probably end up hooking it up at work or something. It was cheap, so I was like, fuck it, might as well. But the coolest thing that I got, well, actually the Echo is pretty cool. But the other thing that I just got today, just came in today, I finally got a 144 hertz monitor.
Oh, and how is that?
So, so there's a lot of assholes that will be like, no, I can see super high frame rates and I can totally tell the difference between 60 frames per second and 120 frames per second. And I'm totally one of those assholes. I absolutely can. Like I don't see each individual frame, but I can tell the difference in the motion, the way that things move around.
Yeah.
Like, and it just feels a lot smoother. And my God, dude, like it was the weirdest feeling. Like, as someone who's so used to staring at computer screens all day and has for decades stared at computer screens all day, like I loaded into WoW and I started moving around and my eyes just felt strange. Like it was like in a good way, like they felt extra relaxed and like things felt, I don't know, it's really hard to describe
or something.
It felt more natural,
motion and whatnot.
Yeah, it's really tough to describe. It was like my eyes weren't having to work as hard, I guess. And it's just like, it's one of those like, oh God, now I can barely look at my other monitors. I definitely wouldn't want to play a game on my other monitors at this point. I mean, why would I if I have the 144 hertz anyway? But yeah, it's actually really good. If you're the sort of person that can't tell the difference between like 60 frames and 120 frames, you're not going to get much out of a 144 hertz monitor.
Right.
It turns out everyone's eyes are different, and like my boss, for example, is super sensitive to this sort of thing, and he'll walk into a room and be like, Jesus, the lights are flickering like crazy today, and the rest of us are like, what? No one can see that.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah. But yeah, so those are the cool things that I got.
Nice. Wow, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like I said, I spent way too much money.
I feel like I got other stuff, but it's like boring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, just a bunch of boring stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I put in my cart because it was like $10.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, that's kind of boring, and pulled it back out again.
That's the way you do it, though. Like that's what when you see something that you just kind of grab off the shelf and you're like, oh, okay, sure, and you throw it in your cart, just walk around with it for a little bit. Just walk around, look at other things.
Yeah, I didn't go anywhere for Black Friday or for Cyber Monday, for that matter. I stayed at home. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I'm more likely to pull something back out of my cart when it's on Amazon.
There you go. Okay, sure.
Compared to like if I'm walking around Best Buy and I say, ooh, there's a fucking thumb drive, I'll drop that in my cart. And then I'm not going to be like, actually, I'm starting to have remorse about this thumb drive that I put in my cart.
I have the same like reaction whether it's online or in a store, brick and mortar. Like if I put it in the cart and then I look around a little bit, because I mean that's what I want to do. Online, I don't do it quite as often though. If I put something in the cart, if I'm on Amazon, there'll be 7 different orders because I'll just grab something and I'll be like, boop, buy it. Click now to buy. And then it's like, I probably could have bunched all that up into one order, but you know what? Impulse. Boom, there's something else. Let's get that too.
Well, in Prime shipping, man, you don't even have to think about it.
I know. It's just I just click this button and then I'll forget that I bought it the next day and it'll show up and it's like a gift from yesterday me to today me.
There was an XKCD ages ago where they were like it was basically putting forward the idea of, at the time, like eBay was, because XKCD has been around for a millennium, but at the time it was like eBay, and it was like talking about setting up a bot to troll eBay and buy things with a buy it now price that makes it less than like $2 total shipped every day of the year, and having it shipped to your house. And that was one of those things that's like, okay, so that is going to cost like a little over $700 a year total, which isn't too bad. And then you just get some random thing in the mail every day. Like that'd actually be kind of cool. Like, what did I buy today? Oh, it's a used baby nipple. All right, I'm throw that away. But then one day it'll be like, oh, it's this pack of stickers from this band I've never heard of.
All of these worth it.
Yeah. Like that's what should happen with the like
it has been found.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Julian PH has found it. Yep, here it is. Now day 2, ski mask. Day 3, bear trap. Day 4, tourist map of the Pentagon. Day 5, lube. Says I'm stopping this before I end up on every FBI watch list ever.
Yeah.
Yes, that's see? I mean that's how Loot Crate came about, and indie bots and all of them. It's like, who doesn't want? Like I if it wasn't for the fact that I followed them, like it's I just get these boxes and I was like, oh crap, and sometimes I get spoiled, which sucks. But like I got Rive, this really great like kind of like Blaster Master style shooter. I say only Blaster Master because it's like a little tank thing. That's pretty much it. And the boxes showed up and I was like, oh, this is awesome, and it's just great to have like these little goodies that come every month or whatever.
Yeah, my problem with the monthly boxes is I actually wish they were more frequent, because for me, half of it is just getting to open a thing.
That's true. Yep.
No, someone sent me something. That's super cool. Like I have this. Liv got me this subscription box that like they send me some cool clothes every month. Because I've discovered that I like dressing up lately, which is a new thing I've learned about myself. Like for fucking jury duty today, I was like, no, I'm gonna look like a young professional going to this thing. So I had like my sports coat.
That's not how you get out of jury duty.
No. I wasn't planning to get out of jury duty. I was gonna look fucking bomb through jury duty. Everyone in the courtroom is gonna be like, "Dang, that guy looks good."
Is it Trendy Butler?
No, it wasn't Trendy Butler.
Trendy Butler. Okay. So
no, it's 5'4".
Liv set you up with this.
Yeah, she bought it for me for
most SOs will drag you out and dress you themselves. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, most SOs pre 2015-16, right? Yeah. Now they don't even have to do that. And so just be like, you know what? There's a site. Just put in your site. Boom, done. I don't have to do shit.
Yeah.
And I say that as the person who did that for Jen. She might kill me if she said it, but yes, when we first met, she was like, she wore like just spaghetti strap tanks and jean shorts or whatever. I don't know. Like she just like wear whatever. Yeah, pretty much. Just like wear whatever is on the first rack you see when you walk into Old Navy or something, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so I hooked her up when we first met, or we were dating.
Yeah, I think Liv has gotten tired of going clothes shopping with me because I end up looking and trying on like 400 different sport coats, and I'm usually not planning on actually buying any of them. I'm just trying them on for ages.
Just want to see what you look like.
Yeah, wonder what this looks like. Maybe I'll consider this for a future investment. Except for the one time that I did end up buying like 4 sport coats. So that was interesting.
And how many PS4s?
I bought enough sport coats that I could put the PS4s in the sport coats. And I don't know, combine my 2 favorite ways to waste money.
You have 3 PS4s, right?
I have 2. I haven't bought a Pro yet.
Oh yeah, I bought a Pro yet. Okay. Jesus.
I will next time that I start really playing PS4 games again.
Yeah.
Like eventually,
like
I'm gonna actually play. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. That would be a good one to play on PS4 actually. Yeah, and eventually I'll actually play the new Destiny expansion. I still haven't even I pre-ordered it because I wanted the Gjallarhorn, and then I haven't played it at all.
I'm already like max level everything, dude.
Yep. Well, I'm not even close.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do it, but my characters, they're hooked up, man. They're like, thanks, Corey.
That's funny. So speaking of video games, Game Awards were today. I don't really have a great segue for that. I learned after I complimented Jeff Cayley on one of his segues that it's not actually called a segue, it's just called a seg. But that sounds stupid, so I'm going to keep calling them segues.
Yeah, you just say segue.
Yeah.
If you wanted to call it seg, don't add UE at the end.
Yeah.
And we'll be good. But no, you add that shit, and then guess what? That's just our accent.
Yeah, exactly. It's a segue.
The segue.
Segue. Yeah. But yeah, the Game Awards were today. There was a lot of really cool shit that came out of it. Should we start with talking about the winners? Because I feel like that's the least interesting thing from the Game Awards.
I mean,
was the actual awards.
last year we went over like every winner, and the show was like super long.
Yeah, we can power through these.
A couple of them, yeah. I mean, like let's look at Doom, right?
Okay.
Doom took home 1, 2. Looks like 2 awards, but it was nominated for a bunch, like 4 or 5 awards. The performance, like fuck the award. Awards are great. It won. It should have gotten more, but the performance was fucking awesome. Except for the part where you don't think that anybody played anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the performance was no one was. The drummer was probably playing because it's very hard to have a drum set that's off when it's an analog drum set. It's very hard to turn that off. But I am positive that the guitarist was not playing.
Yeah, no, I agree. If you've heard like any, from the soundboard live show, especially from like a local band or something that's not really produced, you hear it. Like when they're jumping around and shit like that and they're playing, you could hear it in how
like
they
the
play.
Strings are making noise. Like they're not going to, like every single strum of that guitar was coming out perfectly and beautifully and flawlessly and symmetrically from measure to measure.
Yeah.
No. You don't do that live.
Like I could see them probably having him play something that's just triggering the actual volume, like something that's just triggering the gate. So when he hits he can literally hit any string and it'll just open the gate for like a second. Yeah. And so as long as he keeps on playing, then the gate stays open for however long it is. Like there's a number of ways you could do it, right? or he's just playing and it's still playing kind of in the background, and they just unmute it or raise it up for certain parts or whatever. There were some moments where I was like, oh yeah, he's playing that, and then other moments where he's like jumping around and like being a rock star.
And he's like halfway in the air. Yeah. And you're like,
totally.
Yeah, I don't care how much you've practiced. And it was an 8-string guitar too.
Yeah.
And like, if you play an 8-string guitar, like on a fucking 6-string guitar, you're going to have weird extra sounds in there. If there's 8 fucking strings, there's no way to not have weird extra sounds in there when you're moving around.
I want to see Mick Gordon's hands. He's got these like fucking seriously. Like salad fingers, like gigantic, lengthy fucking fingers. He's like palm muting 10 strings, no problem.
Yeah. Like there's a reason why Slash, whenever he tears into one of his crazy ass solos, he stands fucking still.
but I mean, Mick, he's obviously a talented musician.
Totally.
I was thrilled.
I believe that he did play the sounds that we heard at some point.
Oh yeah, of course. but like to see him up there, like he's a bedroom producer. He's got a couple high profile gigs, obviously with the oh my god, I can't remember the fucking name right now. I can't believe I don't remember the name right now. It's fucking Combo Breaker. The fucking fighting game. I cannot believe I can't.
Killer Instinct.
Thank you. Jesus fucking Christ, a brain. So
it wasn't until you said Combo Breaker, and then I was like, okay, now is he referring to Killer Instinct, or is he some spin-off meme of this that I'm unaware of?
Or is he stopping himself from talking? But no, like he obviously has a lot of stuff under his belt, but I know that he is, not too far from what I do. Like I put out albums.
Yeah.
I put music out and I make stuff or whatever. And he's like out there being a fucking rock star. And that's fucking awesome. It's like, yeah, man, I would love that. Josh and I used to practice live gigs. We did one live show, and it was a studio fucking live show. There wasn't even like a crowd or anything. But still, it felt good to do that. And then he's up there on this big fucking stage, jumping around, like fucking all over the place. That was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, and so Doom did win something or other. Best Action Game.
Mm-hmm.
Which was strange because Best Action Game was a category that was basically Best Shooter instead of Best Action Game. Like, you and I have played enough like indie games, especially in the past couple of years, to know that action game is a genre that encompasses many, many different types of games, right?
Right. It's like saying like
Shovel
techno.
Knight is a fucking action game.
Yeah, like saying techno or electronic music or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, do you mean EDM? And even if you mean EDM, do you mean like what type of EDM? Is this like house? Is this like
or is it tech house? Or
tech
is it
house? Yeah. Is this fucking ambient? Whatever the fuck that is? Like, what is this? So action game, the nominees were Battlefield 1, Doom, which won, Gears of War 4, Overwatch, and Titanfall 2. And it was almost the first-person shooter category, except for Gears of War 4 was in there.
Yeah. And
Doom won Best Action Game, but it was weird because it was in the same category as Overwatch, which won Best Game.
Yeah.
So somehow, Overwatch is the best game this year, except for action. I assume it's because they didn't want to, because Overwatch got a whole bunch of other awards too, like best multiplayer, best esport.
Well, I would argue that you're right. I don't think Overwatch should have got best action game. I'm sorry, but Doom and Gears of War 4 and Battlefield were all like right up there.
Yeah.
Battlefield won like nothing. I was surprised at that.
There's a lot that I was surprised that. So I feel bad for Campo Santo because they're like this tiny indie dev that came out with, well, I guess sort of indie dev, that came out with Firewatch, which was a really, really good game. And a game called Inside won Best Indie Game, which I'm not actually familiar with that game myself.
I play like 30 minutes of it. It's hard to watch as a dad.
Okay. And that was up against The Witness, Stardew Valley, Hyper Light Drifter, and Firewatch. And personally, I would have pegged Best Indie Game as either Stardew Valley or Firewatch in there.
Yeah, I would have said Stardew Valley. For sure.
Yeah. It was up for best art direction, but Inside also won that. Ironically, over Overwatch, which won Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. And I understand that Game of the Year doesn't necessarily mean best in all categories, but it was kind of funny. Apparently, Overwatch won Game of the Year because it has the best multiplayer and is the best esport. Which is another one. Yeah. Well, and I actually thought, like, obviously I'm always going to be biased towards Blizzard because I fucking work there. And I have a lot of faith in Overwatch as an esport, and I think it's going in really, really good directions. But we fucking announced the Overwatch League like 3 weeks ago. Like, how does Overwatch win best esports game over CS:GO and League of Legends and Dota 2 and Street Fighter with a league that hasn't actually started yet? Like, I actually kind of call bullshit on that. While I definitely think that Overwatch League is like seriously like that's actually how a league should be run. It actually is really, really sensible. A lot of the stuff that they've been saying, and I don't really know anything inside about Overwatch League, just to be clear. This is all based on my knowledge of Overwatch League is almost entirely limited to what's been said publicly. But the stuff that they've said about it all makes an awful lot of sense. And the whole, like, they're almost setting it up like franchise teams, the way the NFL runs. And this is one of the things that I've always thought is a little bit weird about esports when compared to competitive sports. The NFL doesn't sell footballs to make their money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, World Series of Poker doesn't sell chips to make their money. They make all of their money and they do all of their income, and their entire ecosystem is structured around the players, it's structured around the teams, it's structured around sponsorship deals, etc. And so the way that Overwatch League is being set up actually makes a ton of sense compared to some of the other esports like, League of Legends, where for a long time all of the players were actually employees of Riot in a weird roundabout way.
Yeah.
And there's been similar things with other games in the past. I actually think what Overwatch is doing is... I'll go ahead and say that what Overwatch is doing is the right way to have a esport with longevity.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been done yet. So calling it the best esports game of 2016 is kind of weird.
Right.
I think it's on track to be best esports game of 2017.
That's true. And that would be when people would kind of back it a bit more. They'd be like, oh yeah, totally. Like when I look at this list, it's like I would look at it and say, yeah, CS:GO, Dota, League, Street Fighter, and then Overwatch. I would say, okay, maybe there was like the best upcoming or like the best up and comer or whatever. It's like, well, make a fucking category for that or something, But
it's like, if it's best up and comer, yeah, exactly. If it's best up and comer, why is it up against 3 games that are 15 years old?
Yeah. But yeah, it's just saying like make another category. It just seemed like a really odd. It did seem like an odd pick for this category. Like I wouldn't even put it in this category. But whatever. Like it is what it is. They have tournaments. I guess Battle Right could have been up there too. Like there's any game that has tournaments. Maybe that is something that they take into consideration. And if you go down the list of people who are playing which games, it's pretty much these games that they have.
Yeah, and it's also a question of how did they actually determine, like, who was actually determining this stuff
for the nominee. Yeah, like where's Smite? Like, there's other ones. Well, actually, no, I take that back. Like, Smite is not as big as these 5.
Yeah, I kind of like I could conceive of a situation in which they said, okay, we want to decide what the best esports game is. Let's go to the teams and we'll ask esports teams, people like SK, Cloud9, etc. We'll ask them who they think the best esports games are, and it's possible that those groups then were like, okay, obviously Counter-Strike, Dota 2, League of Legends, Street Fighter, and we're looking really heavily into Overwatch. And then they were like, well, which of those do you think is the best? And for the teams, Overwatch, the way that they're setting everything up, that would be the obvious choice because that's the one that's the most poised to be really, really sustainable and profitable for teams.
It's like the senior superlatives when they go to the teachers to ask who the teacher's pet is. The teacher's pest.
Yeah. So yeah.
That makes sense.
What else was interesting? Oh, I was talking a little bit about Campo Santo and Firewatch. Like, it got nominated for so much shit,
and they got shit.
It kept losing to like. Let's see, Campo Santo. I'm trying to find them in the list here. They were up for best art direction, lost to Inside. They were up for best narrative, lost to Uncharted 4, which, by the way, won almost as much stuff as Overwatch, if not more. It was up for a lot of different things. Overwatch was also up for, Uncharted 4 was also up for Game of the Year. And so was Titanfall 2, which I found strange.
Yeah, because they just came out like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it's technically of the year. Yeah.
I feel like.
Oh, and Blizzard won best game direction for Overwatch.
So yeah, I'm looking at this list of awards. Now, first off, I want to say that overall I enjoyed it. Like, they had to do a lot of bill paying, right?
Yeah.
With the fucking
you could tell they had to do a lot of bill paying.
Oh my god.
Fucking Shickbot. Okay, so here's my rant about Shickbot. I know I'm interrupting you, so I'll try to make this brief.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So Shickbot came out. He was fucking weird.
Yes.
They had the one entirely too excited guy who I don't know who that was. And he introduced him the first time. He was like, "These guys are down here because Shickbot got them in." And then they went to that weird little like, oh, it's Shickbot the game, and he's fighting against another Shickbot.
Lube Man or something.
Lube Man, yeah, or something. And then they went to Rotterdam, and Rotterdam was just like, whoa, way to own it up, Shickbot. And I was like, oh my god, this is the cringiest thing I've seen in my entire life.
Yeah, there's a lot of cringe. And but you know what, though? If you watch any normal awards show, there's fucking crazy shit. It's cringe on those as well. Every presenter's couple that comes up and they have to like say some stupid joke. And they lean into the microphone, and then they read the cards and lean into the microphone and fucking say their fucking joke. It's always cringy.
Yeah, that's true. But what were you saying when you were?
I was saying the categories just seem. So first off, they didn't go through all the categories. It definitely felt like it felt like they had this issue of like that TV has, where it's like it costs you X amount of hours per TV, right? Like there's no way, or X amount of dollars per hour of TV. But they were like streaming the whole fucking thing. Like, was this on TV anywhere? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah.
This wasn't the Spike Game Awards. So I felt like
I did slightly wish at certain points that Joel McHale would just randomly show up and be like, "What the shit?"
Me too, man. I would have been so fucking happy if that happened.
Yeah.
But they. But I felt like it could have gone on for another 30 minutes, and they could have actually called up a couple of those winners more than once when they won, 3 or 4 awards. So it's like we get to see them all go up one time. So part of the thing I like is when a movie comes out and you watch the Oscars and they're like, and the award for best writing, and they're like, fucking some movie, and they're like, oh shit, fucking some movie, that's the fucking movie of the year, yeah, great. And then you're going through, it's like best actress, fucking some movie, and you're like, yeah. And then like fucking supporting, and then fucking writing, and the best screenplay, and you're like, fucking that movie. and that's it. Like you're getting pumped up, and you're worked, and you're on Twitter, and you're talking about fucking that movie is taking everything tonight, holy shit. And that's part of the excitement of watching these award shows. And in this one, it's just like, and then for best action game, Doom. By the way, they also won this, and this. And looking up.
Yeah, it was really weird. And like there wasn't much in the way of like, even when they were doing the announcement of best action game Doom, there wasn't much in the way of like sort of like pomp and circumstance around it. Mm-hmm. It was basically like, guy walks up with an envelope. There was no like, all right, these are the games that we're gonna do. All right, hand me the envelope, please, and then go through the whole like open it. Like it was a card that was just folded over, and they said, okay, and the winner is Doom.
Yeah,
that's about it.
What's his face? The creator of Knack. When he got up there, he did that. Like he's like, and the winner is, and he opened up. And there was no suspense. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's the winner.
Exactly. Another category that I want to poke a bone at. I want to pick a bone with, or poke a bone at, I guess.
Poke a bone at it. You can poke a bone at it.
Yeah, I want to poke it with my boner. Best RPG. Now, everyone's going to say that I'm going to be mad because World of Warcraft Legion wasn't chosen as best RPG.
Clearly.
And we do know for a fact, absolutely, objectively, World of Warcraft Legion is the best video game in existence compared to all other video games that have ever existed. So that we can just go ahead and throw that one out there. Everyone knows it's the best game. We don't need to discuss that any further. Right. I actually think it's a weird one to have in this category to begin with, though, like because it was up against like Dark Souls and Deus Ex and Xenoblade. I'm like, okay, WoW isn't anything like any of those games.
No, that's not entirely true.
Okay. I mean, I guess there's like storyline and stuff in WoW, but nobody does that. You just run the same dungeons 400 times a week. Well, no, but loot.
but I feel like I could spend the first 30 hours, or actually much more, playing by myself and doing quest stuff, and running around on all that, and having a single player RPG experience.
I still feel like an MMORPG and a single player RPG are vastly different games.
Okay.
I also think it's weird. Can be. Yeah. I also think it's weird. I mean, I guess like games like I would say that games like ESO kind of blur that line a little bit more.
There you go.
Than a game like WoW. But I also have a hard time considering ESO a true MMORPG. But that's probably just because everyone knows that World of Warcraft is the best video game, so I just don't bother thinking about it. Yeah. No, but what I thought was what I thought was weird about the best RPG category is that it went to a like DLC for last year's Game of the Year.
Uh-huh.
And I was like,
wait,
like it went to The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Blood and Wine.
Oh my god.
Which is unless I'm like I haven't played it. I've played The Witcher 3. I haven't played Blood and Wine. I was under the impression that that's basically just a DLC. Like mini expansion, I guess you could maybe call it.
Well then Legion doesn't need to be up there.
Yeah, but I've already said that Legion shouldn't have been on there.
I'm going through the list here, and now everything else does deserve to be up there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was weird. I was like, it was especially the way that they delivered it. Is they were like, and so the winner is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Blood and Wine. Of course, The Witcher 3 won Game of the Year last year, and so I just kind of went, wait, did you just give Best RPG to last year's Game of what? How is that a game of this year if it's last year's Game of the Year? I just thought that was weird.
Oh man, I think they just need to have better categories. Like more categories. That's where that additional 30 minutes could have come in handy, and maybe cutting out some of the stupid bill paying stuff.
Oh, I'm sure that they made fucking bank off of Schickbot. I'm sure that Rotterdam made fucking bank off of Schickbot.
I'm sure. But yeah, like more categories. Like it would be great to see a best MMORPG. Or they could just cut out RPG and it's the best MMO, right? Like that's perfect. That's what I'd prefer to call them.
Yeah, exactly.
They could have had best shooter and best survival game or something, and those could have been two totally different categories. And also what's shitty too is like, best independent game. And it's like, well, that's fucked up. Like I love that. It's like, it's great that there's some recognition being given to, everybody who had a game up there, seeing Hyper Light Drifter, and Stardew Valley. These are games that, we played a lot. It's like, that's great to see them up there. But like Hyper Light Drifter and Stardew Valley, it's kind of a bad example. Firewatch and Hyper Light Drifter are two completely motherfucking different games. Like in every single aspect, they're two completely different games. But they just don't get that same recognition or that same spread to be able to come up with all these or get recognized for all these different categories.
Yeah. Pokemon Go randomly won Best Mobile Game as well as Best Family Game, which is strange because no one can play that game still. It still breaks all the fucking time.
Wait, which one?
Pokemon Go.
Oh.
It won Best Mobile and Best Family Game, which I would not consider Pokemon Go a family game. Like that's a little bit weird.
Yeah, you're not walking. No, it's family. I guess meaning all ages category or something.
When you so if family game is supposed to mean that you can sit your kid, you can hand your phone to your kid and he'll amuse himself long enough that you don't need to think about him for a while, then sure. But that's kind of the opposite of what I would consider. Sure, yeah. That's like when I think of a family game, I don't know, maybe I'm just old fashioned, but when I think family game, I mean a game to be played with the family.
What, Popple or something?
Well, like something that you
like a board game, a card game, or a table game, or Legos.
Yeah, like fucking Mario Party or something.
Oh, okay, a video. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like it'd still be a video game, but it's a game that you have your family together and you are all enjoying it together. Even if it's just a matter of, I'm going to take my turn, you're going to take your turn, or you guys are going to watch while I play this and we can trade it off between each other. Like Pokemon Go is an intensely single player experience. Like, but even the multiplayer elements are single player.
But as Scott in chat says, that's part of their his family's outings, like when they go out and walk around.
When your family's boring.
I mean, part of the reason people go out and walk around is because of Pokemon Go.
Yeah, you know? And I would not have had any issue whatsoever with most innovative mobile/handheld game for Pokemon Go, because it certainly has the most innovation of the year.
Yeah.
But calling it the best, like now I'm kind of talking about the best mobile. I'm getting away from the family thing because I kind of don't care enough anymore. But it also won best mobile/handheld, and I just think it's really hard to call it the best mobile game of the year.
Well, so are we done saying that it doesn't deserve family game? Are we moving to?
No, I still feel that it shouldn't have been in the family game category at all. I'm just dismissing everyone else's viewpoints.
All right, okay. So now let's talk about how they didn't deserve best mobile/handheld.
Yeah, because obviously the best choice there was Clash Royale, which is the best mobile game. Yeah.
They had a best VR game category. I totally missed that somehow.
Yeah, a lot of these categories they didn't even talk about on the stream, which is also weird for the Video Game Awards stream.
Oh my god, I can't believe this game won. Really? So the game that won is called Res Infinite, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those like it's the auto runner of VR.
Right.
You usually you use your head to like look around and shoot things or whatever. Like wherever you aim, your head is where your reticule is going. And that's basically the kind of game it is. I mean, it's probably great, so people are hooked on it or whatever. But next to all these, this is actually just a really shitty list all the way around. It's so the other contestants, the contenders for the best VR game category was Job Simulator, which is fun. It's a fun experience if you want to learn and see all the things that VR can do. That's Job Simulator. Eve Valkyrie. That's a tough one because we know there's probably not a billion people playing Eve Valkyrie, and the ones that do probably have another Eve account elsewhere, the majority of them. On one of the other Eve games, Batman Arkham VR. I was just trying to shorten the whole thing. I was getting lazy there. I have no idea what that is, but I'm fairly certain it's probably not a full-fledged Batman Arkham series title,
right?
Which are typically very long.
Yeah, I think this was a weird year, like to VR. Start the best VR game. Yeah, because like VR is still finding its feet. Like it's obvious that there's potential there, but like what was the like music thing that you were doing in VR seems like the best use of it so far. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've played so many of these games now. It's just like there's so fucking many of them that would just be better, and that people would see and they'd be like, oh, cool. Like there's some like that. Like the music one, going around at sound studio and building your own sound stage. Sorry, yeah, building your own like sound studio and then moving around all that. That's a super innovative way, I think, of using it. Like incredibly innovative. But there are other experiences that I feel like are equally as fun and crazy that are not, I wouldn't necessarily call innovative. That would deserve the reward. There's like RPGs or actually kind of like RPG walking simulator types that are amazing. They're beautiful, and they're survival games. There's so much crazy stuff you could do, and it's crazy to me to see that this list is like these guys.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. The last two categories that I want to mention before we talk about just the weird shit that happened at the Game Awards, now that we're an hour into this show.
We knew it happened.
So, yeah. Trending Gamer was a weird category, but I think it's kind of cool. Like, it just sort of nods towards the fact that, like, streamers, YouTubers, content creators, etc., are a serious part of the industry now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool that the category exists. The winner, I was super, super happy for the guy. Boogie won it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just super cool because he's been around in the WoW scene for ages, still kind of is in a lot of ways. So I was like, that's actually really cool. Boogie won Trending Gamer. And he beat, like, Angry Joe Show and Jacksepticeye and Lyric. Like, I if you were to look at the hard numbers, I don't necessarily think that Boogie should have won over some of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you were actually look at, let's define trending. Okay, what does that then mean? Oh, it means that their numbers are increasing rapidly. Boogie's probably not the one to put on that list, but I was still really happy for the guy, and he's great. I like him, so that was cool.
I don't know how they calculated the numbers for this.
Yeah.
I can't even look at this from a show perspective. It's like, well, who would I want to put up there? You know, like who if I could just fuck the votes, I would just like put whoever I want up there. Like, how would I like go through this list as a producer and choose the person? It's like, okay, Angry Joe. It's like, maybe his negative attitude will not reflect well on the game or whatever. And and then Boogie. You know, it's like, I mean, Boogie's a big guy. He knows it. He talks about it. He's a big guy, and he kind of fits a stereotype that a lot of people who don't appreciate games like we do like to kind of create as their own mental mold for who we are. So I can't think of like how they tabulated this, but I will say that I'm glad that Boogie got it. If anything, for the speech that he gave.
Yeah, he had a lot of really good things to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, talking about just like, just people like him, they don't get a chance to go out and be heroes and do all these crazy things and everything because of how they are. However they got there, who cares? Like, he's right. He's not gonna run out and put on a cape and fucking do anything crazy, But yeah, no, it was good. Good for him.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's fair enough to say that if someone is that size and they don't want to not be that size, that's their choice, and so on.
Yep.
Games for Impact was an interesting category. I kind of like that category, and I like that the winner was that Dragon Cancer.
Oh man.
That game is fucking heavy, but that's that category, right? Like, this is a game that you play and then you feel bad about yourself afterwards.
Yeah. It's the game that it hits you. Like, it has some kind of
But it really does have a huge impact.
Oh man. So when he got up there and he started like crying, I was done, right? I was sitting there and I had the laptop on so I could fucking shitpost while I fucking watched the show. And I had the laptop on my lap and the lights were down and Jen was looking at her phone, not paying attention to what was going on. And I'm just sitting there and I was fucking crying, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, and we were eating spicy food, so she didn't even look, right? And I'm like, oh, it's perfect. I'm like, just fucking sitting there, just getting it out, wiping it off real fucking quick. And then he closes it out, his speech, and then Jen was like, oh, what happened to this kid or whatever, And I was like, fuck. And so I had to tell her. So I had to fucking tell her, and that was it. And I told her, and she was like, and she started crying, and I was like, "See, you can, yes, Games for Impact, well deserved."
yeah, definitely.
Oh man,
I do wish, like, I know he was being super emotional, and I feel like it's well deserved win and everything. I do wish that he had, like, written his speech on a piece of paper instead of having it on his phone, because it meant that every picture of him looks like he's gotten a depressing text message.
I thought that was interesting too. It's like he didn't bring out a piece of paper; he just stood there on his phone. I thought that for a second. I was like, "Oh, is he tweeting this shit out?"
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought at first too. And I was like, "Oh, that's where his speech is." Okay, cool. And he was just staring at it the entire time. And it was like, "All right, yeah, I understand why this has happened, but I wish someone had said maybe you should have a piece of paper." All right, so let's talk about some of the weird shit that happened that wasn't directly game related or award related. Sure. That was all game related. So right at the start of the thing, they brought out Hideo Kojima, or they talked about Hideo Kojima for like ages, because Geoff Keighley was like, no, Geoff Keighley.
You know what? I let that go because I was like, oh my god, have I been saying it wrong this whole time? Has Geoff been saying it wrong this whole time?
He can't pronounce his own name right. Yeah. No, I don't know why that came out that way. So Geoff Keighley was like talking and like creepily staring at Kojima the entire time, and like talking about how he wanted to give him the trophy last year because Metal Gear won a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, and Konami didn't let him go, and then like Kojima like turned it down, and like Geoff was gonna bring it out to him, and Kojima said no. And
oh wait, hold on a second. You know what? I realized that we didn't actually. I just want to backtrack just for a second. We didn't talk about why that dragon cancer was such a big deal.
Oh yeah,
and so this whole time there's a bunch of people that are like, "Well, what's a big deal?" The game is about the guy who wrote the game. It's about his kid who died of cancer, and he made it while the kid was dying. So and the kid died. So that's it.
Yeah.
Now you're all caught up.
It's literally going through his experiences as his kid is dying of cancer.
Yep.
It's fucking depressing. If you want to have a good evening, don't play this game.
So anyways, Hideo Kojima.
Yeah. So, speaking of creepy children, so Kojima gave him the award for, they called him, I forget exactly what they called him, like industry icon or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Kojima came up and he was like, "Thank you very much. I love all of you," etc. And then he did the Steve Jobs, "Oh, and one more thing." And he had something for, I can't think. The game is called something super weird, so I keep forgetting the name of it. What is the name of the game that he is working on? Death Stranding.
Yes, right. Yes. Yeah, I was like it was like something standing or whatever, but not.
Yeah. Death Stranding. Just fucking weird. Like he played this video, and I'm sure it's around on the internet now. People can go watch it. But it was just one of those like, okay, this seems kind of interesting. Like there's some sort of like occult stuff mixed in here, like the fucking Cthulhu tank.
That was the best fucking tweet about that.
Tank Thulu.
Tank Thulu. I was like, oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. Like this creepy baby thing. Like it was weird, and it was Kojima style of weird. In that you still have, like, I have no fucking clue what this game is about. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know what to expect of this. Creepy dude, like, looks down and his face gets clean. This was weird. Yeah, do we know anything about Death Stranding?
Not really, but, like, the name, so did you notice that when he sent he gave the command to, like, move forward, right, for those little squad he had? And the squad, so as he was walking, they all had flesh or whatever, when they first kind of came out, and he was looking a little fucked up. And then when he sent them to move forward, and he stood there, these cables type things came out of them, and their flesh like kind of melted away. Now I've only seen the trailer once, so I'm trying to like analyze this off of that. But the flesh kind of like fell away, and then the cables kind of went back, and like I would say cables, strings, strands, maybe. You know, they all like kind of go back into him, and then he looks up and he looks like rejuvenated almost. It's almost like it's an extension of his own personal life force that's kind of powering those things through what you could probably call death strands. Yeah. So that's my theory. I don't know if that's...
No, it's a good theory. Yeah. that would be very Kojima-esque as well. So this makes sense. But yeah,
it looks weird.
It looks weird, but it looks like it could be. Yeah, it could be really, really like fresh and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see some actual real footage of Mass Effect Andromeda.
That was the best footage they could have possibly used. The way they did that. Every time they show like gameplay footage, usually we're like, all right, so where's the gameplay footage? Or that was clearly very scripted, or wow, there's always something wrong with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I sound like a huge fanboy right now.
Yeah, like
Mass Effect did it right.
Yeah, you'll see a little thing that's in the corner that says actual gameplay footage, and you're like, okay, I'm pretty sure the actual gameplay isn't constant cutscenes, so this is not actual gameplay footage. It's like, oh, but it's in the engine. No one fucking cares.
Yeah.
But the Mass Effect footage was like, no, this is someone running around a thing in the game, an area in the game. This is someone driving around not the Mako. That I think that was the bit that really, really hooked me on this game. Is it looked like Mass Effect, and it looked like proper Mass Effect too. Proper Mass Effect also, not Mass Effect 2, which Mass Effect 2 was good, but it looked more like Mass Effect 1 in my opinion.
Yes,
like it was
the crafting. You're just driving around, all of a sudden here's a bunch of assholes. It's like I love that.
Yeah, and like the map where it's like we're gonna go look at we have to go to this planet. So quit knocking shit over. We're gonna go look at this planet. We have to go to this planet, and you're actually like moving the little like circle on the map that's like what you would see in the Normandy. And I was like, this game looks like Mass Effect. I want this. I want it so bad. I hope the story's good. I'm pretty excited for that now. I wonder, do we know if it's gonna have any sort of multiplayer in it? Because Mass Effect 3 did, obviously, but it was a little bit weird.
Yeah, I thought it was. It was
really, really fun for a couple weeks.
Sure. Well, that's like every game. But I think I see what you're saying, though. Their game, it didn't have the longevity for some.
Yeah, and it was weird because it didn't have the longevity, but it was in an RPG.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why can't I make myself better and face harder opponents? This is a little bit weird. But yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda, it looks like a good game, which is an important step.
Yes. The animations look fucking terrible.
They did, yeah. The run animation did not look good.
And, man, so much of it is just bad. But you know what? I could go back and play Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, no problem. And not be like, oh, these graphics really suck. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, if Andromeda's got to be that, maybe it's got great scenery, but the cutscenes look shit. Fine, whatever.
Yeah. I think, I feel like the main character that they were showing either was customized strangely, because obviously Mass Effect has always been super customizable.
Yeah.
Basically, her mouth was half the size of her head. And while there are certainly people that look like that, it was just a bit jarring. It made her look a little bit more cartoony than you'd usually see in a Mass Effect game. Mm-hmm. But maybe that's what they're doing in this thing. So who knows? Oh, and Nolan North. So Nolan North won Best Performance for Uncharted 4 as Nathan Drake.
Right.
Which I thought was well-deserved. A lot of people were saying that Firewatch should have won that instead. One of the Firewatch, either Henry or Delilah from Firewatch should have won that.
I know they had 2 nominations in that. They still...
Yeah.
That sucks.
Uncharted had 3. Basically, the best performance was Uncharted, Firewatch, or I guess there was that guy in Mafia 3. Like,
yes, that was exactly it.
Yeah. But Nolan North won it. And I think it was well-deserved because, like, his performance as Nathan Drake really... Like, Nathan Drake sells the Uncharted series for me. Like, that character has to be spot on the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
But what was interesting about Nolan North's speech was he kind of fired some shots a little bit at the striking voice actors, because there's the voice actor strike going on right now.
Yeah.
Where they're just not working with a lot of companies. And one thing that's been fortunate for for me is that one of the companies that they're actually pointing to as being a good one to work for is Blizzard. So that's cool. I guess they don't like Activision, but they're fine with Blizzard, which is it's something that only people in the like inside the actual industry can really tell the difference most of the time. Mm-hmm. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so he was like talking about how no, this award goes to the developers because without them I wouldn't even have the performance, and a lot of people have been saying that performance matters, and he was like, yeah, I agree, the performance of all the designers and the artists, etc. matters, and so on. And kind of like I guess not really directly saying shut the fuck up voice actors, but
yeah, let's read the quote. That way everybody's kind of on the same page.
Yeah.
Do you want to read it?
I don't have it directly in front of me.
I have it. So he says, performance matters. The performance of every designer, every programmer, every hardworking and talented person who works at the office. That performance is so important, and their performance matters more than mine. And that's important in this day and age, with all this talk going back and forth, because without their performance, my performance wouldn't matter, and it wouldn't even exist. So, yeah, the part where he says, their performance matters more than mine.
Yeah.
That's obviously that's the one that hurts the most.
Yeah, that's kind of the dig there. Yeah. And while certainly, like everything, it's going to be less than black and white. There are a lot of very legitimate concerns that the voice actors have been bringing up, especially when it comes to things like when a couple of the issues that the voice actors have been talking about, the SAG-AFTRA voice actors have been talking about, things like sometimes they get told that they need to make the sound like they've been stabbed, and they need to continue making it for the next 4 hours until they get one that they're completely and totally happy with. Or until they get 40 that they're completely and totally happy with, so that they can then cut 30 later. And while obviously lots of those noises are usually necessary in a video game, trying to make the sound like you've been stabbed constantly for ages, that fucks up your voice. And a lot of times it can actually cause irreparable damage to your voice.
Yeah.
And things like when they're doing a performance for a lot of companies, the company doesn't want to give them any sort of detail whatsoever on what it actually is that their character is doing, what's going on, what's the name of their character. Sometimes they don't even tell them like what the game is that they're working on. And so you end up with people who are like, oh, I got some work, I don't know what it's for. And then later they find out, oh, this is for a triple X rated awful video game that I really never wanted to be part of in the first place, and I'm never going to put this I'm never going to credit myself with this because I don't want people to know that I did this. Or like you end up with voice lines that are delivered very, very strangely because the person didn't know what they only saw their half of the script, so they were just reading off the lines from their half of the script. And they didn't know that they were supposed to be reacting to a line in a certain way.
There's also so right now there is an industry standard for developers, right? If you're a developer, if you're like a front end developer and you specialize in whatever, you can pretty much come here to the Bay and be like, yeah, I make this much money, and that's how much I'm going to get. That's my salary range. When it comes to voice actors. And people who do that kind of very one-off contract work, I say one-off meaning, you go in, you record for like a week and then you're done, whereas the rest of the dev team is working for years. It's really hard to kind of what your metric is to get paid on that. And then, like you said, there's everything else with it too. Like you're a human being, you could stress your throat, or you don't have the rights to see certain things before you actually get into the job or sign a contract or whatever. Yeah. And a lot of times you can't like quit. Like if a developer gets on, he signs an NDA, gets on, he's like, wow, this code is such garbage. There's fucking no comments, nothing anywhere. I'm done. I'm out. And he leaves. Like that might not be an option for some of them. And they're not protected by anybody. They don't have the job security that a developer in San Francisco might have, where they could just go get another fucking job tomorrow. It's his comments definitely felt like he was snubbing his nose pretty hard. And you know,
a little bit.
He's in so many successful games. If he's pulling a low wage from them and he comes in, he knocks out. Maybe he gets everything done on the first go, right? So he's just exceedingly good at it, and he makes a lot of money at it. Then from his perspective, he might be like, "Why are you guys complaining?"
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's like when someone's stronger than you pick something up, and you're like, "They're like, what? It's not heavy." It's like, well, bitch, you're fucking stronger than me.
Yeah. I also, I think there's an argument to make that his comments could have been coming from, like, it was clear that he was kind of making it up off the cuff as well, the way that he was actually delivering it. It wasn't something that he planned out ahead of time. Was like, okay, I'm gonna stick it to those fucking voice actors. Like, it was something that he was sort of maybe not even expecting to be giving a speech.
Right.
So it kind of felt to me like every once in a while, like even on these shows, like I kind of have a thought that I'd had ages ago and I continue to have that thought, but I'm talking into a microphone as I have it. And by the time I'm done talking about it, I'm like, actually, I have no idea what I'm talking about right now.
Like right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Like this entire show. But I also kind of think like it maybe could have been coming from the perspective of him just trying to be super humble and trying to be like, actually, even though I won this award for my portrayal of the voice of Nathan Drake, I still feel that the actual work that went into the actual video game itself is more important, because if it wasn't for the game that's fun and enjoyable, then this wouldn't exist. And so trying to make a nod toward the people that actually, like the developers, the designers, the artists, etc. And I can respect that. I think if that was his goal, he maybe shouldn't have used the performance matters tag, but I don't know, man.
I feel
I just don't want to shrug the guy off entirely.
You're right. Yeah, totally. But I feel like of all people, he should recognize the importance of the performance of what he does and how valuable it is overall when weighed up against everything else. Especially since he's the fucking guy who took over for Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
You know, like that should be a fucking flag right there. Like he should be like, oh hey, maybe that is important. They're replacing fucking Peter Dinklage with me.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that he was cheaper. Honestly, I'm sure that Nolan North re-recording the entirety of the original.
But you can't say that if everyone was like, "Oh my god, I love having Peter Dinklage come around and narrate everything I do. It's the best thing ever." You really think they would have swapped out Peter North? I'm sorry.
Nolan North? I'm confused.
I said Peter North because Jen said Nolan North sounds like a porn name, and I said, "You're thinking about Peter North," and she's like, "Maybe I am." I was like, "Yes, you are."
Nice.
I don't even remember what the fuck was going on with that, but yeah.
Me either. Okay. We are running late, and I have to go relatively soon.
Oh, okay.
But I did want to mention the Division's survival thingo.
Oh, okay.
Because it's really fucking fun. Yeah, I'm surprised. Mm-hmm. Like, it's actually really fun. And I think it's probably mostly fun the way that I was playing it, because I was playing it with 4 people. And so I felt generally less terrified of other people all the time. But it was still, it's still pretty. So basically, for anyone who's maybe stopped paying attention to the Division entirely at this point, which I wouldn't really blame you, because I kind of had as well. It's basically this alternate map. It's the same map, but it's like an alternate instance of it. And you sort of load into it, and you have nothing but a pistol, essentially. And it's also like 40 degrees Celsius. It's 40 degrees below 0 Celsius. So it's fucking freezing outside. So you have to like craft shit to keep yourself warm. You've got like some sort of, I don't know, psycho tetanus or something that's like slowly killing you. So you have basically an hour timer that's ticking down, and you can pause that timer by taking medicine, but
temporarily pause.
It'll be temporary, and then it eventually will start ticking down again. So you have, if you manage to go completely crazy, you have like 2 hours before you die. And
it's an hour. If you were just to not slow it down and not do anything to stop
if you weren't to slow it down at all, yeah. But if you were, what I meant was if you were to get tons of meds, you could probably get 2 hours. and it's really fun. Like, you have to find gear, you have to like kill off some low level enemies, you have to craft shit. And it's like Battle Royale from H1Z1, but done in a way where like there is actually a final goal, like a direct final goal that you have to get to a certain thing, and it's not directly like, oh, I happened to wander into a shed and found an AK-47, I guess I'm good now. Like, you do actually have to work for the stuff that you get.
Mm-hmm.
And so it also means that very early on, if you run into another player, you're usually pretty evenly matched against them.
Yeah.
Unless you've literally missed them picking up a better gun by seconds. In which case, well, this was a matter of seconds. It's really fun. And I know you played it a bit as well. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on it.
I think it's good. Like, it's like taking the Dark Zone and King of the Hill and putting it together. You know, it's like it's basically just Last Man Standing. Well, I'm sorry. It feels like Last Man Standing because there's a counter that ticks down, but that counter that ticks down to how many people are in your instance or in that match is actually just an indicator for you to know when it's safe to call in a chopper. Because if you call in a chopper to drop your loot that you've kind of scavenged for and you found off of, like, you know, random mobs, once you turn in that loot or you call in that chopper, then everybody knows where you're at, and then it becomes a big ass fight, especially if you have, you know, X number of people in your party, first off, because it summons a couple of like heavier NPCs, but also, you know, everybody else that's still in the instance. So you'll kind of want to get in there and not necessarily make it to, you know, not necessarily drop all your loot out immediately, but just try to survive longer than everybody else. And it's like Hunger Games where like somebody dies, it's like poof, and you can read in the chat, you know, who died. It's good. It's really good.
Yeah. And I guess it's worth mentioning as well that like the rewards you get from it actually do transfer over to the main game. Not specifically the items you pick up, because the items you pick up fucking suck for the main game.
Yeah, right, because everybody starts with nothing.
Yeah, like literally nothing. But the items that you earn, you can find like actually really good stuff in there, and it transfers over to your main character, and then you get to keep it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I've enjoyed it quite a bit, and I will likely be playing more of it. It's cool that the Division seems to still be managing, which is nice.
Yeah.
I thought for sure the game was just completely hosed after they had all the hacking issues early on. They seem to have mostly sorted those out. At the very least, when I was playing, we didn't run into anybody who was hacking, and this seems like the place to do it. So yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's they did a good job. I feel bad though because I feel like we may have just cursed them.
Yeah, maybe.
There was a time we were like, oh man, Evolve's so good.
I don't think I ever said that. I thought Evolve was weird from the start.
and then we gave the whole background on Evolve, right? And then we talked about the new patch that came out and that changed it and made it free to play and all whatever. Like, it just basically made it like pretty fantastic. And then 2 months later, they just everything fell apart. I was like, okay, well, shit.
Yeah. I'm hoping that people stick around for the Division survival thing. I wish that there were more like rewards that you could get that actually help you in the survival mode, or not even necessarily help you, but apply in the survival mode, like different starter outfits or something that don't necessarily give you heat benefit, but look different. Just because like I like the survival thing. I want to play the survival thing. I'm not terribly interested in the rest of the game right now. If I wanted to be like gearing up a character, I've got plenty of that to do in WoW. And that's kind of my focus for that sort of gameplay at the moment. For the survival thing, like I'd rather just focus on the battle royale style of gameplay, and there's none of the permanent rewards in there actually matter to me at this point in time. They're just sort of stockpiling.
Yeah.
But that's like my only real criticism. The other thing, I don't know if you've played it all. I know Shizzle's been playing it a ton. I picked up Miscreated the other day.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's actually really good. I know that it started out being kind of a shitty DayZ clone, but then DayZ became a shitty DayZ clone. And Miscreated kind of falls between H1Z1, which ended up feeling super arcadey and weird and had all the weird shit with the base building and stuff. And I guess there's technically base building in Miscreated, but I haven't come across anybody doing it because it kind of seems like a waste of time. But it isn't quite so spread out like DayZ, to where, like, if you're playing on a server with people on it, you will run into a person. And it has a lot more of the, like, oh, there's a vehicle over here, I'm going to fix it up. Not, oh, there's a vehicle over here, it's already running, and I'm just going to drive off in it. Which is how H1Z1 typically works. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And also we played Worms the other day, and that was fun.
That was great. I had to edit the whole fucking footage down. It was too good. It was too fucking good. I was thinking, we honestly, like, just in the back of my head, I was like, we haven't played this game forever. What if we get in and we're just all like, all right, well, haha, panic herder, right? Like, what if it sucks now? What if it didn't live up, to the years, stand up to the test of time? But nope, we got in there and it was the same.
It was so fun.
It was so good.
Yeah. We need to make sure to do that more regularly, because that was really fun.
I agree. I'm sure everybody else is okay with that too.
Yeah. Okay, my time is pretty much up. Beep, beep, beep. That's my alarm going off.
Well, all right then.
Alexa, how much time do I have left? She said no timer is set, so I'm pretty sure that means I'm out of time.
Hey Siri, how much time is left?
I'm not sure what time means. Can you ask me again using a different word?